Good evening to you all. So, welcome to another video where we are going to discuss another chapter which is very important, or we can say that fundamental concept of political system of India. So, in this chapter of governance, we are going to discuss various concepts like what is a parliamentary system, parliamentary system, what is a federal system, is India really a federal country or a unitary country or somewhat between the federal and the unitary? So we are going to discuss these concepts in this chapter, and in between we will discuss some other concept also that we will discuss as the question comes. So not wasting much time, we are coming to first question. So which one of the following best define the term state? So there are various words which are used in the polity like state, nation. So in this question asks the various component of state. The what do you mean by state? So if we define state in the simple terms, then we can say that state is a political institution. Political institution which has four fundamental concepts, and you can easily remember with a simple mnemonics like there is exam like prelim exam PT, preliminary test, and in that test what is the syllabus? GS. So PTGS, in the PT there is a syllabus of GS. So in this simple mnemonics you can learn that what are the various component of this political institution which we call it state. And this state is not like this state which we call in the modern context, that is UP, like various state present in India. There are 28 state. This state we are talking about it as a nation, in which we define through a concept of nation state. So this is a political concept basically. You do not have to mix it with the state like UP. This state is a general idea about a country or a nation like India is a state. So there are four components. So we will discuss one by one that what are the meaning of these various uh, words. So P stand for population, and we know that what do you mean by population. So there is a permanent population. T for territory, G for government, S for sovereignty. So these are the four various component which are called the cardinal principle of a state. So there is a population, there is a defined territory, there is a effective government, and there is sovereignty. So we all know the meaning of this population, territory, government, and this sovereignty. I will explain that what is the meaning of this word sovereignty. So sovereignty basically means this word has also been used. We know that it has been used in the preamble also. Sovereignty as sovereignty. So sovereignty basically means absence of any higher authority, absence of any higher authority, absence of any higher authority. Suppose India is a nation, so there is no authority over India which decide its internal or external function or decisions. So sovereignty is basically of two types: internal and external. External means if we have to make any diplomatic relation with any country, then we are not under any compulsion of any state, that you do not have to you have, like for example in the recent contemporary example we can take the example of supporting the war in Ukraine, like Russia is attacking the Ukraine. So whether we should support Russia or not, a, a foreign country like US cannot dictate that you should support Ukraine or you should not support Russia. So that is the independent decision of a country. In the internal case, like we have to take any decision regarding the policy matter or making any law, so it is the prerogative of a country. It means that it is the independent decision making power of any state or a country, so there is no authority of that country. So that is the basic meaning of sovereignty. So in this way we learned that there are four components of a state: PTGS, population, there is a permanent population, there is a territory, there is government, and there is one concept of sovereignty, which we have discussed. That what do you mean by sovereignty? So the sovereignty are of two type. I told you that it is internal sovereignty also and external sovereignty, and I told you the example that what can be under the external sovereignty and internal sovereignty. So if we come to this question, if we read these various statements, then we can easily guess out the answer. A community of person, so community of person permanently occupying a defined territory, independent of external control, and possessing a organized government. So by reading the first statement only, we can easily take out this mnemonics, that there is a population, there is a defined territory also, there is independent of external control, which I told you that its simple meaning is sovereignty. Sovereignty is also there. Here we are talking only about the external sovereignty, but sovereignty is there. And possessing a organized government, so G is also there. So this whole statement encompasses all the four element, that is PTGS. So in the one go only we can say that this statement is correct, though we can read other statement also, but there will be something missing in those statement, so we do not have to go much in other statement. A is only our right answer because it encompasses all the four vital, uh, we can say that element of a state. So the answer is A only. So this is our correct statement, and this question was recently asked in this UPSC examination. So now coming to the second question, which one is the most prominent element of a state? So in the one go only we can remember that I told you that there are four elements of a state: PTGS, and I told you that how to remember this mnemonic. So what is the most important element? So why reading the all the four options we can easily guess out the answer. Flag, is there flag? No. Sovereignty is there? Yes, sovereignty is there. Capital is there? This is not a required criteria. Head of the state? This is also not a required criteria. So the answer is C. So in this way you can easily guess out the answer of this simple concept, what we define or what are the different element in a state. So this is the sovereignty is the right answer. Now coming to the next question, that is question number 3. With reference to sovereignty of India, which of the following statement are correct? So there are two statements. India is a member of Commonwealth of Nation. So this is a straight fact. And we know that India is a member of Commonwealth of Nation. And India became member of Commonwealth of Nation in 1949. Second statement is this says that sovereignty of India is curtailed due to its membership of Commonwealth of Nation. So we know that India is a sovereign nation. So is the sovereignty of India hampered or we can say that it is hampered due to its membership of Commonwealth of Nation. So if we go through the charter of the Commonwealth of Nation, there it clearly says that it does not hamper the sovereignty of any member country. So first of all, you should know the basic that what is this Commonwealth of Nation. So this Commonwealth of Nation is basically a voluntary association of independent sovereign state, or we can say that nations. And these most most of these member state are most of them are former colonies of Britain. Former colonies of Britain. And one more thing which you must know, that the king or the queen, which we say that monarch. So king and queen is the head of Commonwealth, this Commonwealth. So this association, head of this association is king or queen. At present we know that King Charles is the head. And it also clearly says that this title of head of the Commonwealth does not possess any political power. Does not possess, so do not have any political power over its member. So in this way we can easily say that this being a member of this Commonwealth does not hamper any kind of sovereignty of that nation state, or or that member country. So there was a debate in the Constituent Assembly over joining of India or being a part of this Commonwealth. So Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru clearly said that this is basically an agreement by free will, and it can be terminated by free will. So there is not any kind of compulsion, or not any kind of, we can say that, not any kind of sovereignty is hampered by joining this political organization. So this is a voluntary organization, voluntary association. So in this way we can say that first is correct and second is incorrect. And here if it is written that being a member of UNO is India's sovereignty hampered, then the answer is similar, same. That is, sovereignty is not hampered, because India can uh, terminate its membership whenever it want. So it is a basically a voluntary association to a political organization or political group. So this statement is incorrect. So the answer is only A. Because we know that sovereignty is a very vital element of any member state, or we can, as we already discussed, that this is one of the most important element of a state. And now, so answer is one only. Now coming to the next question. State is everywhere. It leaves hardly any gap. This statement explains the concept of. So state is everywhere. It hardly leaves a gap. So basically, this is a very philosophical statement, and it well defines the concept of welfare state. So in the positive sense, it is a welfare state, but in the negative sense, we can say that it is a police state also, where state is always present everywhere and hardly leaves any gap. But we will go with the positive statement, that it is the concept of welfare state, where welfare state basically is aimed at the welfare of society at large. It means that welfare state is a state which welfare state is a state which safeguard liberty of liberty of citizen. Plus, it also provide social services. Social services like, for example, we can say that uh, free health, education. We can also say that social security, like in the form of pensions to the old and the disabled. Like we also can say that the financial assistance to the jobless. So these are the various kind of function of the welfare state. So in that sense, in that positive sense, a state is present everywhere where there is a need of citizen. So here the answer is A, welfare state. Now coming to the next question. Constitution of India provide which type of governance system? So this question is about the governance system of India. So the options are democratic, presidential, parliamentary, and semi-democratic. So by seeing the option, we can easily say that India is a democratic country. It has a parliamentary form of government. So basically, we will eliminate this democratic because democracy is a philosophy which says that or which propagates that the supreme power lies in hand of people. So it is a philosophy. It is not a governance system. And how this supreme power is basically uh, exercised by the people. So this is exercised through we can say that direct method and indirect, or we can say that representative. So direct, in a direct democracy which we used to see or we have studied that in ancient Greek cities like Athens, there used to be direct democracy where people used to directly vote for their leader or any decision. So in the modern context, this direct democracy is not possible, though there are various methods which are still used for this direct democracy. Like there is a concept of referendum where people directly vote for a particular issue. There is a concept of plebiscite, like where there is a territorial dispute, the people of that territory vote whether they want to with that government or not. So there are various other method. There is method of recall, there is method of initiative. So we will read these concept much more in detail in the coming questions, but these all are the method of direct democracy. While in the indirect democracy or representative democracy, like in India, the people do not exercise their power directly. Rather, they exercise this power through elected representative. Like we in India have MPs or MLAs. So they are our representative. They are the representative of people. So they fulfill the wishes of people because people are electing these people, MPs or MLA, to represent them in the legislature. So in this way, there are two methods of this democratic system: direct and indirect. So further classifying this If we further classify this direct, indirect or representative democracy, then we can classify it into two parts. Um, I will give you an example like in India, Britain, USA. We will take three example: India, United Kingdom, that is Britain, and USA. All these three countries have democratic polity, but what is the difference? The difference lies in the governance system. Like India and the UK, we have a if we pronounce fully, then we have a representative or indirect democracy. So we can say that we have a representative representative parliamentary system. And in the case of USA, where there is a though there is a representative system, but we say it representative presidential system. So this is a classification of how the representative democracy is further classified. So on what basis this classification is being done? That a government will be a parliamentary system or form of government, or it will be a presidential form of government. So to tell you this concept, so there is a concept that on the basis of nature of relation between executive and legislature. So we all know that what do we mean by executive and legislature. So these are the two organs of government. Beside these two organs, there is a one other organ also, which we call it judiciary. So these all three are the organs of government. We know that executive, the main task of executive is to implement the act and policies, and the main work of legislature is to basically frame laws. So how did I this classified this system as parliamentary system or presidential system? So the basis of this classification is nature of relation between executive and legislature. So I will tell you that what is this nature, what is this nature of relationship. So to tell you further, so I told you that this is basically the basis. On this basis, the governance system can be divided into parliamentary and presidential system. Now, what do we mean by this presidential and parliamentary system? What happens in this parliamentary system? So, what is this relation between executive and legislature? So, in this parliamentary system, suppose this is executive and this is legislature. So, sorry, suppose this is executive and this is legislature. So, we will understand the relation. So, in a parliamentary form of system, there is a relationship between these organs in the way that this executive is basically suppose this is legislature, so this executive is basically part of this legislature. Some of the member of this legislature are made part of executive. So basically in the mathematical language we can say that this executive is a subset of legislature. So there is no separation between both organs of government, there is overlapping, some kind of overlapping. While in this presidential system there is a clear cut separation between this legislature and executive. There is no intermixing or no overlapping between both organs. They have a independent functioning. Like in India, we have this system, and this example of this presidential system is United States of America. So basically, this system work on separation between the both organs, clear cut separation, while in the parliamentary system there is no clear cut separation. There is in fact intermixing of both organs of government. Now this was the first concept which I want to tell you, that what is the basic difference between this parliamentary and presidential system. So in this parliamentary system there is a concept of responsibility. Responsibility in the sense that the executive is responsible to legislature for its act and policies. So executive basically means the minister. So minister sitting in the parliament, suppose they want to introduce a bill. So suppose like a farmer's bill, which you will understand more easily. So there are some controversial provision in this farmer bill which the legislature or the people are not agreeing. So how the executive is made responsible? So these legislator sitting in the parliament, they ask the question from executive, that is the minister or the ruling party ministers. So they ask these people sitting in the legislature or the parliament. So these MPs, because this bill was passed in the parliament, so in the parliament we know that the member of parliament sits. So these people ask question from the executive, that what is your intention to introduce such a bill, what will be the benefit to the farmers. So there are various methods through which these legislators ask question from the executive. Like there is a concept of, you must have heard, question hour. There is a concept of zero hour. There are various other method which we will read in the chapter of parliament. Like there is a concept of adjournment motion. There is a concept of calling attention motion. So there are various instruments through which these legislators ask the question from the executive, that what is your intention to introduce such a bill or taking such a decision. So in this way, this executive is made responsible to legislature for its act and policies. While this concept of responsibility is not present in the presidential system, so we can say that no responsibility, no responsibility in presidential system. So there is no concept of responsibility in the presidential system, because there is a there is a clear cut separation between both legislature and executive. So they are independent of each other. Rather, they are directly responsible to people. Directly responsible to people in the sense that in the coming election, if the people like their policies or act, they will choose those leader which has taken those decision. Otherwise they will vote against it. So only the people will judge their policies, and they will be made accountable by the people. While in the parliamentary system, uh, though the people also judges their policies, but before that the executive is made responsible by the legislature for their act and policies. So in these two senses we can say that why the parliamentary system is called responsible government, and we can say that they have intermixing, some kind of intermixing between both executive and legislature. While in the presidential system, we know that there is no responsibility and there is no intermixing. There is a clear-cut separation between both executive and legislature. So this is the basic difference between both type of government. Now I think you must have understood this concept, so we can easily solve the question. That is, Constitution of India provide for which type of system. So we have understood that India has a parliamentary form of system, and in a similar fashion, we have understood the concept of presidential system also. We have understood the meaning of democracy also. So what do you mean by democracy? So democracy is not basically governance system; it is a philosophy behind this governance system, which says that the ultimate power lies in the hand of people, or in the political language terminology, we say that the doctrine of popular sovereignty. So this is doctrine of popular, means people, popular sovereignty. So here the answer is C. So parliamentary system is a type of government system in India. So coming to the next question, which unitary element are found in India's federal system? So before solving this question, I will basically explain you that what do we mean by this federal system, or there is one other system which is opposite of this federal system, which is unitary system. So I will explain briefly that what are these two systems. So how do we classify these two systems? So on the basis of nature of relationship between national government and regional government. Regional in the sense states, provinces. So on this basis of nature of relationship between national government and the regional government, we have classified, or the political scientists have classified government into two parts, that is unitary system and the federal system. So of which relationship we are talking about? So firstly, about we talk about division of power between this national, or we can say that central government and regional government. So is there any division of power? So in the federal system, and here we write unitary system. So division of power between national government and regional government. So in the federal system, there is a division of power, while in the unitary system, is there any division of power? So there may be a division of power, there may not be a division of power, but I will explain you that uh, how it can be possible. Second point of classification is that source of power, source of power, source of power of these national government, source of power of these regional government. So whether it is from uh, constitution or by central government. So in a federal system, the source of power of regional government is always constitution, while In a unitary system, the source of power is central government. So it is basically a ad hoc provision or temporary provision. Central government can any time, we can say, terminate this provision of division of power or delegation of power to the regional government. So I told you that there may be possibility that there is a division of power between national government and regional government in the unity system also, but that is not actual division. So because I told you that the source of power is central government, and central government can anytime terminate this temporary provision of delegation of power to the regional government. So in the real sense, that is not actually a federal system, it is a unitary system. In a true federal system, there is always a division of power, and that division of power is always a constitutionally devised. That it means it is written in the constitution. The government is not at the prerogative that it can anytime suspend this provision of delegation power to the regional government. So in that sense, it is a true federal system where there is division of power, and that division of power is basically supported by the constitutional provision. While in a unitary system, there may be a division of power, there may not be a division of power, but generally there is not a division of power. But if there is a division of power, then it is not constitutionally supported. It is basically a temporary provision for some administrative convenience. Central government delegates some power. So this is basically the concept of this unitary system and the federal system. So now you have understood this concept. So we will uh, in the coming question learn some cardinal principle of this federal government and the unitary government.